Genuine Truth here, and it's time for more Otaku Evolution. Be sure to like, subscribe, and contribute to my Patreon. A lot of my videos have been flagged recently, despite my careful editing. Japanese animation studios don't give a damn about fair use. Not that I would expect them to necessarily, but it feels like I'm being especially targeted. This week's review is a TMS property, so you might be watching this on Dailymotion instead of YouTube. On the plus side, it's my favorite Lupin III TV special. Is that a low bar? There are a few good specials. This one is especially great, but I feel like it's a low bar. For every Island of Assassins, for instance, you get 5 Columbus files. If you didn't already know, Lupin III is the master thief that is the brainchild of the late great Monkey Punch, real name Kazuhiko Kato, who was inspired by the art of Mort Drucker and Sergio Aragonés. The Lupin manga began serialization in 1967 in the pages of Weekly Manga Action. The popular original manga spawned multiple TV shows, theatrical movies, annual TV specials, direct-to-home video features, and more. Lupin has become an enduring figure of manga and anime for decades. I've covered numerous Lupin III features on Otaku Evolution over the years. Some of the videos are still up even. Each one features a small cast of central characters. Lupin himself, a cross between James Bond and Bugs Bunny, a horn dog par excellence, master of disguise, and master of chase scenes. Daisuke Jigen, Lupin's heterosexual life partner and gunman extraordinaire. Not a woman's man like Lupin, though he does get their attention now and then. Goemon Ishikawa the 13th, an anachronism among anachronisms, a master swordsman who can cut through anything with his sword Zentetsuken. Fujiko Mine, the femme fatale, bestowed upon the unique twin gifts of personality and a knack for coming out on top, often at the expense of others. And our merry band of thieves are eternally pursued by Inspector Zenigata, stalwart police officer with a singular obsession: capture Lupin. But not all Lupin shows and movies are created equal. Sure, some fun can be had even from the most direly poor effort. It is Lupin after all. But there are definitely better features than others. There's a tendency in the TV specials to be a tad mediocre. Usually an incredibly watered-down, toothless Lupin, who takes part in adventures that are too garish, and yet all the same pretty generic and boring. Even some of the theatrical features fall into this pattern. I'm looking at you, the First. You may look really good, but you're just a paint-by-numbers Lupin frolic in a pretty wrapping. I have some pretty definitive opinions about Lupin material. This is why I'm especially happy to review the feature at the heart of this video, Lupin III Episode 0 First Contact, the 2002 TV special that proves that if you apply the Lupin formula just right, even a somewhat standard depiction of Lupin can be elevated to the realm of the kings with quality. In other words, First Contact is a brilliantly executed feature that everybody looking to get into Lupin should watch, and probably own on Blu-ray. This special recounts the first meetings between the members of Lupin's crew, and Zenigata in addition. Lupin is a freelance thief that has yet to hit it big, Jigen is a mafia bodyguard, Goemon is still searching for the ultimate sword, and Fujiko is, well, Fujiko. In fact, Zenigata comes to New York City specifically to track down Fujiko at first, but as he investigates, he finds himself drawn into Lupin's antics and vows to capture him. So it's a good place to jump on if you're new, but it's also got continuity nods to past Lupin storylines you might be familiar with if you're a longtime fan. It works on both levels, and on so many more. Because it's an origin story of sorts, we get to see these characters become the people they are throughout the franchise, even though a lot of the groundwork has already been done beforehand. It doesn't offer any deep insight into their psychology, mind you, but it does give us the excitement of seeing how they first approached and eventually vibed with each other, which creates a sense of energy and liveliness in the plot, especially in how it's done, because it's got a great structure. You have familiar elements of Lupin features, of course. You have a main villain and his main henchman, you have a big heist that has to be pulled, you have the heist hitting a snag, you have the final showdown between Lupin and the main baddies, and throughout you have Zenigata on Lupin's trail. But it also subverts some of the elements of the usual formula. For one, instead of having a one-off woman that Lupin and or another member of the cast encounters throughout, our feature-independent Lupin lady, or Phil, we just have Fujiko. That means there are no extraneous characters. Well, there's Brad, but, well, Brad's not around long enough to matter. This allows the special to focus solely on the main cast, and to not have to drag around a new character we can never really invest in and will never reappear again. Another subversion is the goal of our characters, the Clam of Hermes, a container of rare metal that has an alchemic scroll inside that describes how to make said metal. It's not magical. It's not a strange alien energy source. It's not some gigantic relic or the key to a weather-changing device. And nobody has to steal the Statue of Liberty to get it. It's just a metal container. And it doesn't need to be anything more than that. It's a good enough treasure as it is. The mob in this special simply want the secret to the metal for their own ends. But not world domination, but to make a buck. I like that. It's a perfectly understandable practical goal. I prefer that to extraordinary miracle machines in hidden ancient ruins. But what really makes this special work more than anything? What elevates this feature above nearly all Lupin III features, including some of the best? Why am I so enthralled by Episode 0 First Contact? Character balance. It has the ideal character balance. In a Lupin show, movie, or TV special, it can be difficult to use each of the main characters in just the right amount. One or other of the characters tend to get the short straw. And that can be fine, you simply don't need to highlight every character in every installment, but it can be a little frustrating when almost none of the entries, even good ones, really make use of all the characters at once. But Episode 0 First Contact contains a carefully measured balance of Lupin, Jigen, Goemon, Fujiko, and Zenigata. The special mostly revolves around the relationship that Lupin and Jigen establish. Goemon's arc is relatively small in comparison. However, due to the overpowered nature of Goemon, they use just the right amount of him as to not make it seem like all problems could merely be fixed by him at any time. Fujiko is given her own little arc which involves her loyalties, as usual. And Zenigata's portion is excellent, showing how while he's always been snake-bitten, he's also a persistent fellow with a strong sense of justice and isn't to be taken lightly. It's shown in his interactions with a detective named George McFly?
Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think McFly, think.
My point is, there is fantastic character balance. All of the characters feel well used. It's something you don't often find in even some of the best Lupin features. I mean, in Island of Assassins, Goemon and Fujiko might as well not even be there. Even in Castle of Cagliostro, there's not much for Goemon to do. And that's Castle of Cagliostro. It's probably a technically superior movie to First Contact because Miyazaki's craftsmanship, but First Contact uses its characters better. What else? Oh, the settings and atmosphere of the special are great. You really get the sense of New York City as a real living city. And the tone is excellent. There's plenty of levity, even some over-the-top qualities, but the special skews towards the more grounded and less fantastical. The most extraordinary element is, as usual, Goemon and his cutting ability. Otherwise, it doesn't get storybookish or magically extravagant. It just gets its thrills by being solidly compelling in its execution, having story and action beats at just the right times, a rhythmically sound, well-measured chemistry that keeps it from ever being dull or a chore to watch. It's entertaining from beginning to end. So yeah, First Contact is by far my favorite Lupin III TV special, and one of what I consider the golden three that came out in succession. Missed by a Dollar, Alcatraz Connection, and this one. They're the best specials. Now if only somebody would dub Alcatraz Connection and put that out on Blu-ray, I would definitely review that. But First Contact is the peak of the peak, my friends. You can find it on Blu-ray from Discotheque Media. I've got my copy. I thought this would be longer. But it's as long as it needs to be. Just like the special. Next time on Otaku Evolution, it's showtime. Until then, see ya!
そうだ、何度も言わせるな。
ハンバーガー。
だからそのハンバーガーをくれと言ってるんだよ。
ハンバーガーって何？
ハンバーガーはハンバーガーで。ハンバーガー。
We only have a day tonight. We only have a day tonight. To live and never pray. To play and never die.